Good morning, Sven Squad. I just woke up. Today we got some news to unpack. I realized that I'm probably a few hours late again, but let's look at what we got in these past 24 hours about the Mass Effect Legendary Edition. First off, let's talk about the soundtrack that was posted on the main Mass Effect channel on YouTube. This playlist premiered yesterday and contained every single soundtrack of the original trilogy, with the addition of a bonus track. We'll touch on the bonus track later in this video. What we got next is the addition of a custom art creator. This is basically a function that BioWare added to the Mass Effect website that lets you create your own lithograph or wallpaper, which you can then download in 4K resolution. As you might have seen from the thumbnail to this video, mine turned out pretty good, but I think that's just the general aesthetic of the lithograph itself that makes it look so sweet. Go check it out. I'll put it in the link in the description below. The real juicy news, however, is the released specs for the Legendary Edition. Now, I'm a sucker for smooth frames per second, so this is right up my alley. So it looks like the Legendary Edition will have two graphical choices for consoles. One is performance mode and the other is quality mode, which is pretty standard these days. For PlayStation 4, the quality setting runs at 30 FPS at 1080p and up to 60 FPS with performance mode. PS4 Pro gives you a slight edge with 30 FPS at 4K resolution and up to 60 FPS at 1440p. The PlayStation 5 is a bit surprising though, as the jump here is only to 60 FPS at 4K with quality as a preset, but no change in FPS with the performance mode at 1440p. Oh well. Now let's look at the Xbox version. The Xbox One runs the same as the PlayStation 4, as in 30 FPS at 1080p with quality and 60 FPS at 1080p with performance. The Xbox One X, I'll never get used to that name, will run just like the PS4 Pro, as in 30 FPS at 4K and 60 FPS at 1440p. Now this one is pretty impressive compared to the other ones. The Xbox Series X will, just as the PlayStation 5, run at 60 FPS at 4K. But with the performance mode, we see an insane jump. You'll be able to play Mass Effect Legendary Edition at 120 frames per second on a 1440p monitor. Now, some of you guys might think that this is kind of silly of me to make a big deal out of, but it's literally night and day. It's a huge difference. If you've ever had an old monitor that can only display 60 frames per second, and then switch to a monitor that can run 120 FPS, the difference is crazy. 120 frames per second feels incredibly smooth compared to 60, so I wonder why the PlayStation 5 doesn't get this treatment. Well, it might just result in more Xbox consoles getting sold, since every single PlayStation 5 console is sold out. If there is a reason for this that I don't know about, please tell me about it in the comments below. But here's the mother load. PC players will be able to enjoy up to 240 frames per second. This will of course vary, since not everyone has a monster PC. I do though, humble brag. So I'll be maxing out the game to its fullest, and since I do have a 240Hz screen myself, humble brag, this is going to be a real treat. Anyway, this was today's video. If you have any thoughts and suggestions, just leave them down below, and please tell me about your thoughts about the theme, about the bonus track here, right? Have a great day, Sven Squad.